Good morning. It's Wednesday, April 19th, and today I want to talk about the battle between Florida Governor DeSantis and Disney. Well, for over 50 years, Disney has run its property all by itself. It had a special tax status and everything, and it had its own fire department, its own police department, and I think all of that was the correct thing to do for an organization that was using a piece of property that would be visited by millions of people. Why should a property like that be under the control of some local government who, honestly, in most cases, were not equipped to deal with an audience, so to speak, where hundreds of thousands of people are going to come and go? So what's the big deal? Why did DeSantis decide that he had to take over the property and he had to become the policeman and the fireman, etc.? Aren't there enough problems in Florida without him taking on Disney? So the crux of the matter really is something that Disney did that upsets DeSantis. When the state passed a new law that limited classroom instruction of sexual orientation and gender identity, Disney objected to the bill and vowed to help get it repealed. So Disney stepped to the plate and decided that they were going to take DeSantis and his crazy government on and try to get that bill rescinded. And that is why DeSantis is after them. After them because they are objecting to one of the most ridiculous rules in his administration. A ridiculous rule that has been carried out in many states across this country. And I've talked about this before. This book banning is insidious. It serves no real purpose except to dumb down people. Since when do we want our children and our grandchildren not to understand that many in our universe are not the same as we are, and that we have to understand the rights of individuals to be what they want to be, as long as it's within the law, as long as they're not hurting other members of the population? Why are we so intent in so many places in this country to book ban, to stop people recognizing the fact that there are other ways to live your life than to be, and I'm going to say this out loud, to be a white Christian in this country? It's okay to be black or yellow or green. It's okay to be transgender. It's okay to be gay. None of those things are evil. They're different. Why do we have so many in this country that can't recognize that fact? So we have DeSantis taking on Disney and writing laws to stop them. But Disney's clever, and they have countered his measures, and so far it's a standstill. And I pity that piece of property if DeSantis gets his hands on it and takes control. Do you think that the man is capable of running a property like that when he have to let all kinds of people into the property? Is he going to start monitoring those who come in and get them swear to some kind of allegiance that they are not a member of some piece of society that he objects to? Could you imagine that? Could you imagine Disneyland separating out people by their individual characteristics? We're not going to let anybody into the park who's transgender. We're not going to let anybody into the park who's black. We're not going to let anybody into the park that thinks too far to the left. Are you kidding me? Why in the world would any self-respecting person go to this extent? It just shows you the madness that's running loose in this country. So why did Disney take this action anyhow? Because their property, called the Reedy Creek Improvement District, was a special district that was set aside and created by state law in 1967. And it gave Walt Disney government control over the whole land. And on that land there are several amusement parks and schools and people live on that property. This is like a city. It's almost like a state within a state. So they have schools there, and that's the problem. Disney is objecting to the fact that their educational system will be affected by the law that DeSantis pushed through. And Disney has taken great pride with the relationship that it had established with the state before DeSantis existed. They have said, we have proved that a private company and a state government can work together for the benefit of both sides. But now DeSantis is destroying that cooperative environment. Disney struck back at his plan, at his bill that he passed so that he could take over Reedy Creek. And he promised the people of Florida that it would cost them nothing if they took over this property. Well, it turns out that was a blatant lie. Because if he gained control of that property, there's over $1 billion of debt that's associated with that land that Disney has incurred. But if Florida takes that over, they have to assume that debt. And $1 billion will mean that the taxpayers in Florida would have to pay for this ridiculous action on the part of DeSantis. But DeSantis, of course, didn't act alone. I mean, he had to get the lawmakers in Florida, state legislature or something, to pass this bill. And they passed it very quickly. And then they went away for the summer or whatever they had to do. And they had no plans laid out of what kind of measures they would take if Disney fought back. So they're totally unprepared to deal with this $1 billion debt that's been thrown in their lap. And that has stalled the process of getting rid of Disney right now. So the lawmakers are back in Florida trying to draw up new legislation so that they can take over Reedy Creek and do whatever they want to do with it. But remember, Reedy Creek has schools and everything on their property. And the lawmakers continue to promise that they're not going to take over the debt. And so far, the only thing the lawmakers have been able to accomplish is change the name of the Reedy Creek district to something else. So right now, the situation is in a state of flux. And the last thing that DeSantis has done is he's putting together a board of 5 members to run the place, and those people will not have any relation to Disney or whatever, or their family or whatever. They will be strangers in a new world. So it's totally crazy, and it's all because of this stupid book ban. If DeSantis had kept his mouth shut and not pushed through that dumb don't say gay law, he wouldn't be fighting with this, and everything would be cool down in Florida. I don't know how this situation is going to turn out. But there's 75,000 employees that Disney has on the books there, plus the people that live in the district and the schools. And all of this is in a state of flux because of the stupid book ban. So I'll leave you with that this morning. Have a great day. Bye.